Thank you very much. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Mr. Sci-Fi's live now
I'm
too.
here almost
Hi, guys.
5 years, right? Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah,
Great.
but I need to, more fluency and more listening. Listening good more because I have to, really still have a hard time to listening the, TV or movie.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yes.
I need to try something. But anyway, so that is so far for me. So thank you very much, and always nice meeting you.
Great. Yay. 3 cheers. So it's now time for Mr. Sci-Fi question, if there are any yet, Adam.
I don't see anyone. We're just starting to get some people watching.
Cool.
So.
Great. Hello, everybody. So good. So would you like to take your turn, Adam, since you're at the top of my screen?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, go for it.
Hi, everyone. I've been a busy little bee. I've had a lot of stuff going on.
Good.
Including transitioning from my 30s into my 40s.
Yay! Happy birthday.
Which happened on Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah, I already am feeling the aches and pains.
Yeah, yeah. But you look a lot wiser.
I've invested more in Ben Gay.
Yes. Yes.
And all of the ointments.
Well, there you go.
And yes, lots of wisdom. On a professional note, I did my taxes today.
Great.
Which was, I'm still reeling from the emotional onslaught that was. Even with TurboTax, and just handing them my money for no reason, just because they want it every year. But also, I did have 3 auditions.
Great.
Oh, wow, great.
Wow.
Including an open call self-tape voiceover audition.
Cool.
But I had 2 of them were from my agent, which is crazy. Like, I guess my agent's been really ramping up submissions or something, because I've been getting a lot of commercial auditions.
That's great.
That's great.
So, congratulations.
I'm bound to book one of them sooner or later.
Yes. So great. So is there anything you need beyond a great role?
A tax advisor.
Yeah, there's
a
that.
Very cheap a tax advisor that does it cheaper than TurboTax.
Yes, that's valid.
I have a question about tax, Adam.
Yeah.
So is it popular things to pay the estimated tax for the next year in United States?
I never do that.
Oh, does everybody do that estimated tax for the next year?
One can.
I mean, you can, but it's not like, it depends.
But great.
You do? You all do, or just you do? You don't?
It's
good to avoid penalties.
There's different ways to do it. I mean, some if you're an artist, self-employed, you can also be a corporation, and that can also help. I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but definitely talking to a tax professional who isn't an idiot is a good idea. But be very careful, because a lot of them don't know what they're doing or talking about, and that can lead you astray.
The firms that advertise on
the
net, because they're often somewhat scamming, saying that they're low or free, and then they suddenly end up paying a lot.
Yes.
TurboTax.
Okay. So anything else, Adam?
No, I think that's it for me.
Okay, yay! 3 cheers. So, is there anything on Mr. Sci-Fi yet?
Let's see. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Got a question just hot off the presses.
Great.
From Mark Lungo.
Hello, Mark.
He says you've talked about having a bad experience on Mantis.
Yes.
How would you have fixed the show?
Gotten a different showrunner. Because it was the first that I know of TV show with a black superhero, and there may be others, but that was the first one I was aware of. And Carl Lumley's a wonderful actor, but so it was entirely the writing that was terrible, and
the
it was,
visual effects. I mean, with him flying.
Yeah, I know. But the point is that you need someone at the top of the food chain who really knows what they're doing and is open to good storytelling. And the problem is that I was very lucky to work with showrunners that valued me and my viewpoint. So I was able to write things that I cared about. But But on Mantis, and the showrunner wasn't a bad person. I mean, he was a nice guy, family man, all that. I liked him. But when it came to his aesthetic, it was utterly antithetical to mine. And not to say that my ideas are the only ideas, certainly, because I mean, Michael Piller and I disagreed, and he was a terrific showrunner. But it was just it was this just determination to always go for the mediocre, always go for the cliche, always go for something that would make the show less than it could be. And it was a lost opportunity, and I feel bad for that, because I would have loved to. I mean, there was enormous enthusiasm on the writing staff, because when I was a freelancer on that show, but the guy they put me in a room with to work out a storyline, we were working out a great storyline, and then the showrunner comes in and says, "Oh, you can't do that, can't do that, can't do that," because it's like good. You know, he didn't say it that way, but that was what happened. He said, "Do it this way." And it's like, it was so relentlessly mediocre that I couldn't get around it. And, you know, particularly when you're a freelancer, you don't have any power. All you can do is the best given whatever the restrictions are. And that was one that I felt very bad about, because it could have been a really wonderful show. It certainly had the possibilities. So there you go. So I guess, Dave, you're next on my screen. Why don't you tell everyone what to do with themselves?
Hey, hi everyone. It's Dave Edison. Your Space Command. What am I, editor?
Yes.
Co-producer.
Yay.
So,
Yay.
oh boy, is it are these times exciting. So I'm working on some plates here to send over to David Bartlett and the gentleman who's now on board doing color. In fact, I was just on a call with them, and David says that I will be getting, I believe, 17 minutes of the show that I can marry to sound and send to you, Mark.
That's great. That's great. I look forward to it.
Yeah, so you'll see that. I also just sent you a clip of actually I didn't quite send it yet, of a new VFX shot. It's the one that I had sent you already, that's Rescue Ship.
Yeah.
There's a revised VFX shot from Ken.
Okay, great. Terrific.
So I'll send you that as well. Anyway, everybody else doesn't need to know that stuff, but
okay, cool.
Let's see what's going on. So we're moving forward. We're down to the final nuts and bolts. And
yes.
And try to get this thing out ASAP. We've got a lot of steps along the way. We've got to finish the credits. We've got to finish the color. There's got to be a mix. There's got to be a 5.1 mix. We've got to. Did I mention credits? We got to do the credits. We got to get the parts out to the DVD Blu-ray facility. We've got to get a commentary done. We've got the first part of the commentary that I've got to work on. Then we'll have the second. Also, a couple of our cast members will be doing a commentary. Emailed with them today. And so that's about the Space Command thing.
Yay.
Anything else we need to know about this project at the moment and we need to discuss?
Nope, not right now.
I would like to mention that an old friend of mine, in so much as I haven't seen him since 1994, I've spoken to him since 94, but my old pal from New York, Gilbert Gottfried, is gone.
Yeah.
And what an incredible guy. I mean, people.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if people have heard this story about Gilbert, but when we were working at the clubs in New York, and it would get late night, and they'd put up Gilbert usually to try to clear the room so they could close for the evening. People didn't know what the hell they were looking at. It was like, same thing with some other comedians like Sam Kinison in the day. He could clear a room before they knew who he was. But Gilly, as we called him, would go up and come up with, you don't even know where the stuff came from. Just amazing concepts. And the comedians would all flood into the room and hang out in the back, and we'd be breathlessly laughing. And the audience wouldn't know what the hell to make of him, which made him even funnier. So, but then somehow he managed to hit, and we were, some people make it. You go, what the hell? What's that all about? How did they make it? But with Gil, we couldn't have been happier for him because he was such a nice guy,
Mhm.
and off stage, so incredibly soft spoken.
Hmm.
I have a filthy story about Gilbert. That if any of you run into me, including the people on Mr. Sci-Fi, I'd be glad to tell you the story, but
Not
right now,
yeah.
it's probably not.
Yeah, they're people in their second childhood here. So
exactly. So and Adam's just turned 40.
yes. So yeah.
But the punchline is the aristocrats.
Well, you know the for those of you on Zoom here, there's some model kits behind me on the shelf. These are vintage kits. I remember one time, didn't hang out with Gilbert much, but one time he came over to my apartment in New York because I had just started collecting these vintage kits, and mostly a Aurora Plastics company, monster models or figure kits and things of that sort. Weirdos from the Hawk model company. Those are over there. And I guess this came up in conversation. He came over to the house, and every piece I pulled out of storage and showed it to him, he said the same thing. He would look at it and go, "I had this." And I'd have him, "I had this," and there were things that he had just forgotten about from his childhood. But it was just a nice, I don't know, half hour or whatever we spent just going down memory lane and reliving our childhood. So that was
that's great.
Cool. Anyway, Gil was a great guy. We watched yesterday The Return of Jafar, the first direct-to-video sequel to Aladdin, which actually wasn't bad. And Gil had a major role in that. The thing only runs about an hour and 10 minutes, maybe. But unusually, what he does in this film that I had never seen him do anywhere else or heard him do anywhere else is he's got 2 musical numbers. So the parrot sings a couple of songs. And so that was kind of cool. Anyway, just in remembrance of Gilbert, if you go online, there's you can punch up Letterman. There's an hour of Letterman sets that somebody has compiled.
Wow.
And in the first set from 1985, he does his alien invasion story. Not an invasion, but when he had an alien encounter. And it's just so out of left field. And how did he come up with this? But that was Gilbert. So I encourage you to punch that up. Also, if you punch in "You Fool Hollywood Squares" Gilbert Gottfried, there's a time where the Hollywood Squares board was filled with 4 X's and 4 O's, which meant there was always that last star for the win. Because if you got 5, you won, even if it wasn't in a row. And Gilbert was the remaining square. And they kept going back and forth between the 2 contestants, and he kept fooling them. And so they would say, "I agree," and he'd go, "You fool!" Or, "I disagree." "You fool!" They just kept getting it wrong until 5 minutes later somebody got it right.
Wow, how
it's
fun!
A pretty damn funny video. So
that's
check
great.
that out.
Wow.
Anyway, hats off to Gilbert and his family and 2 kids. If you haven't seen the documentary called, of all things, Gilbert, which is free on certain streaming services and a few bucks on others, then I encourage punching that up.
Great.
And so that's about it.
Okay, yay! 3 cheers, excellent.
Gone way too soon, and on the heels of Norm Macdonald,
Yep.
Louis Anderson,
Yep.
Bob Saget,
Yes.
Amazing Jonathan.
Yes.
Hasn't been a good time, but this one really hurt.
Well, one of my favorite stories about someone dying, this is a segue, is this is a true story. When John Lennon was murdered, this couple, their son was very little, and so they sat him down. They explained why they were so upset. They said, "Well, you know, because he said, I don't understand. You didn't know him," and she said, "Well, no, we didn't know him, but he was a part of our generation, and he really helped to make us who we are, and so we're very sad because we had a very strong connection to him, and that's why your mommy and daddy are sad." So a few days later, the kid comes home from school and he's got a very serious expression. This is a true story. He has a very serious expression. He says, Mom, Dad, sit down. I have some really bad news for you. And so they sit down, and he says to them, Colonel Sanders just died. So it's like unclear on the concept. So
That's a good story.
it is.
As
It's
long as we can have a chuckle over somebody dying, I think
yes,
it's worth it.
yes,
And
yes,
frankly, Gilbert would have been the first one to laugh about this, but
yes.
you know,
Well, a song,
just,
yeah,
that's a shame.
a song, a dance, some seltzer down your pants. You know.
Yes,
So
there's that.
yes.
Anyway, onward.
Okay. Well, actually, Dave, my mom's former boyfriend, Eddie Leroy, passed away, and he had been a comedian on television in the 50s and so forth. And so a whole bunch of Borscht Belt comedians came to his funeral and then gathered at the graveside. And that was a memorable day, I'll tell you.
I would imagine it would be.
And his ex-wife, who was a female ventriloquist, hadn't brought her dummy, but she spoke in her dummy's voice with her hand over the grave. So it was appropriate. It was really something. So,
Well, you know, it's an interesting community to be a part of. Even though I've been out of the business part of it for a while, I still know so many of these people. I don't know the new people. But,
yes,
the people from that era, I know just about all of them.
yes, yeah.
Anyway, it's an interesting group.
Yep, indeed. It was
All right.
it was actually the golden age of the stand-up comic, you know, because there were so many comic clubs, and you know, it's really not what it was back then, but you could really, a number of really great comics kind of rose to the
Well, absolutely.
yeah.
Hundreds of people, and
Yeah.
and some incredibly brilliant people that you've never heard of.
Yes, exactly.
But I know them.
Exactly, like that Albert Einstein. He was really a card, you know. So
Yeah, that was an earlier generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, great. Well, 3 cheers, Dave! Yay! So Adam is. Oh, yes.
And I'll do a tag on a story from the past 2 weeks.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, I mentioned my car was stolen. Last week, I mentioned they found it and it was wrecked. And by this time, I have a new car. So if I need to bring any files to Mr. Bartlett or Mr. Zicree or
Great.
Ms. Zicree,
Great.
I have a way of getting there.
Mazel
So there
tov.
you go.
Great! Yay! 3 cheers.
And Geico did great by me, so that's good too.
Excellent,
Great,
excellent.
that's
Good job.
great,
Good job.
okay.
So 3 cheers. So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, and the biggest thing is now the Friars Club has no one to roast anymore.
Huh. Wow.
There's no
Mhm.
one left.
It's
Anyway,
true.
Our next question is another one from Mark Lungo.
Great.
Jackie Green and Pat Cooper are still alive, among others.
Yes.
There we go. They can roast them.
Yes.
So Mark Lungo says, how do you feel about Elon Musk's attempts to take over Twitter?
I just heard about it. I have to look into it more. I don't know. I just wanted to get to Mars. I mean, that's what I'm waiting for. You know, it's everything else is kind of for me superfluous. You know, so we'll see. Because I want him to beat the Chinese. I want him to get there because it's he's such a Heinlein character. You know, so but yeah. So we'll see. So Judith, it's your turn if you haven't had your turn yet.
No, she hasn't.
Go for it.
Hey, Judith, here we go.
Oh, hi guys. It's been a crazy week. It's all about the dogs.
Yes.
Yay.
I slept up to Victorville. What happened was I was looking for a dog and Elaine suggested I look on Craigslist. So I did, and there was a picture of a corgi. Well, first of all, it was too expensive, and a corgi is too big for me because I'm afraid to fall again.
Yes.
I've broken enough bones this year. So I called her and she said, well, it's $1,200. I said, I don't have it. She said, well, I have some minis. I said, how much? She said, $500. I said, I'm coming up.
Okay. Cool.
So my attendant, Angela, we drove up. Oh my God, is that up? I schlepped the crank, as we say in French,
Yes.
to Victorville. And they brought the dogs out, and I couldn't make up my mind which one. The female was big, but the male had such a sweet look on his face. And they both called in my jacket, and they said, take them both. We'll give you both for the price of one. I
Yes.
said, you got a deal.
Great.
So I'm going to pick them up as soon as you guys pick the dogs up again.
Great.
Pick them up on the 10th.
Great.
They're mini corgis. They are so adorable. I cannot tell you how cute they are. I'm in love.
Mm.
So,
That's great.
That's the end of that. So I was up at 4 o'clock this morning.
That's great.
Because with all the craziness, I haven't had any time to write. So I had to finish up a couple of scenes.
Mm.
I did an audition last week, and I got a first refusal on it.
Hmm.
But they said I look too young,
Huh.
which is great. Well, my agent didn't tell me that I had to be older.
Uh-huh.
And so I slathered Plexiderm on, and I did. I have the footage. I look much younger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
My attendant, Angela, has a really good phone, and I'm thinking of maybe doing a monologue just to get on actors' accents.
Mhm.
I've written something called Half Dead,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be a TV show. It's very funny, and but I had done a scene from it, and I was thinking I cut it down to a monologue,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm going to do it as a monologue. I spoke with Raven this morning, and she said absolutely I could put it on the phone if it's a good enough quality.
Mm-hmm.
With what the dog is costing me, I've got to save money. It's two vets, 2 shots, two everything.
Mm.
So, and I got to get a crate and blankets, and I'm the wee queen. I'm the wee pet queen of LA. Absolutely, and that's about it.
Okay, yay! 3 cheers.
Congratulations. That's
Excellent. So, Adam, another Mr. Sci-Fi question, perchance?
Yeah, one sec. There we go. We have a question from G Dawn,
Mm-hmm.
who says, and in all caps, so it must be important. Was there ever a Rod Serling U.S. stamp issue?
I don't think so. I've never seen one. There should be one, of course, but if there was, I've missed it. So but I'm not up on all the stamps. They have so many of them now. But if someone knows of a Rod Serling stamp, let me know. But no, I haven't seen it. So yep. So
Edison's got some superhero stamps there, but
yeah.
You know what? There's I have some stamps here. There's 1910s, 1900s. I have somewhere in that stack. I think I have some 50s TV. Let's see if that's part of it.
Okay,
That's
sure.
so
That
great.
that might have Rod in it. So
Yeah.
we might
that'd
at
be
least
great.
have a Twilight Zone.
Yeah. That's cool. And actually, there's a caricature of Rod that they used on a lot of the stuff at the Serling event that I went to last year in Binghamton. I'm going back again this year, and it was actually drawn by the artist writer who did the comic strip BC, and Johnny Hart, and it's a really nice caricature of Rod. So Carol, go for it. It's your turn.
Thank you. When do you go to Sicily?
Well, that's the story, and we'll tell you all about it when it gets to be our turn. We are going to London on Sunday, and but Sicily may have to wait till September, and we'll get into that when we get into it.
Yeah.
So go ahead, go for it. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. I have a little list. Adam, you don't look a day over 30, and
Great.
I'm not blowing smoke up your skirt. I really think that. David Edison, that's why if you saw the Academy Awards, the memoriam this year had dancers and singers, and it's about time. It was Les Maudlin.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so wonderful. I just must tell you this. There was this beautiful rabbit across the street hanging out for a couple days on his front lawn. I think it was wild. Then it came over to my house and was hanging out. I didn't know if I should feed it. I'd cook carrots. I didn't know what to do. So then I decided it was a visitation by the Easter Bunny. I said, that's wait a minute, that's not a random rabbit. That was a visitation. So that's good luck, and that's for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to tell you that. He's so beautiful. I don't know which rabbit freaking came from, but I wanted to bring him inside. Yeah. So I was in that staged reading Friday night. There were a lot of people showed up, but you know what I decided? A rose is a rose is a rose.
Yes.
Or written. I did whatever I could to make the writer look good, and she thanked me. She was very complimentary. But it was just such a terribly. I don't know how it got chosen for this thing. It was just a terribly written. The character was completely inconsistent. I couldn't get a handle on it, so I just said, I'll just do the best I can, right? And that's all we can do sometimes. Just the best we can, right? And let go of the results.
Yes.
And so beyond her being grateful, did anybody else respond?
I got some nice compliments,
That's
which
good.
was interesting.
Good.
That's great.
So I don't know what's going to happen with her whole piece. I have no idea. But she said she'd like to talk to me about it, whatever it means, this week. She didn't call.
Great.
I don't know what that means.
Well, but
I
onward.
don't know.
And also, by the way, one can be very proactive in that regard. So, for instance, if you made a list of your favorite movie and TV writers and just reach out to them via social media and said, look, I'm an actress. If you ever have a table read and need someone to play someone like me, I'd be happy to do it for free. You'll get response, and then you'll be working with scripts that are much better quality, So I would urge you to do that. It'll work.
Is there any general note that you could possibly offer her as like general, not to be, to just say, this was a great experience as an actor. Here's something that would have helped me. Is there any
nice.
Is there any general note you could give her like that?
Yes, there is. Thank you. That's great.
Great.
And I'm going to be really honest too. I mean, if and when she calls, I'm going to tell her. I'm going to ask her, how much writing classes have you had? Because she writes dental manuals. This does not mean she's a writer.
No.
I was going to translate, right? But I mean, it was fun. I got to hang out. I got to play a little. I had the lead. I had fun. But I tried to do well for her. But no, that's a good idea. So I may call her, but if she calls me, I think I will do that. I have a writing question.
Yes, please.
Someone asks for a synopsis and a cast list that's a little fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
In synopsis, you usually have to put the protagonist in there and just define a little bit about the protagonist. Is that reiterative to the cast list?
No, because the synopsis is what happens, what the plot is. You, like, for instance, let's say you said, Dr. James Gray is a hematologist, and he finds himself in a terrible trap when, blah, 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 a vampire comes to him, but then when you have the character breakdown, you go into like, he was born in Venezuela and his parents were symphony conductors and whatever, it's like, that's where you give more information about this guy, but you only reference characters as they serve the plot or as they serve the structure of the story.
But in
does
describing,
it have to be one page? It could be two, can't it?
Yes,
it can be when you're describing a character,
but it should be no more than 50.
Right.
I'll remember that.
When you're describing a character, think of anything that motivates them
in
your story, so that if you have a cop as the lead, to say this particular character, when he saw his father shot down in front of him, determined to blah blah blah, and so add anything, or he's a fallen away Catholic, anything that would be relevant to what pushes him within the context of your story. So you don't have to go on at great length. It's just that what created this man's perspective. The good and the bad. Then, but when you're talking about story, yes, you're talking about former cop driven by ghosts is confronted by someone who blah 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 blah. Where he wants a clear-cut villain, and he starts finding out all of this stuff that feeds into his own stuff, and so then you start talking about the plot mechanics and what's going to happen to these two guys.
That's really helpful.
Sure.
Cool.
That's great. Oh, thank you. That just clarified it.
Okay, great.
Cool. Okay. Anything else?
My life and all the visitations that I'm having.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
Yay! 3 cheers.
So, in answer to the question, issued August 11th, 2009, early TV memories.
There's Groucho.
Stamps. And there on the bottom, it's not a Rod Serling stamp, but it's a picture of Rod on the Twilight Zone.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that works.
Wow.
There you go.
Great.
If you Google early TV memories, US postage stamps,
right,
images will come right up.
Well, there you go.
Thank
Well, you are,
you.
everything
you.
there
Oh,
is to know in the
boy.
world. So, okay, great.
I do what I can, which is revoltingly little.
And Guy Linda just bought one on eBay too. So
Cool.
Wow. Okay.
Cool. Well, someday I'll have to get one. So, okay, great. Thanks. So, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
let's see. Yeah, we got a Bruce Moore question.
Hi, Bruce.
He says Mark, was Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge made by Twilight Zone producers?
No.
Or featured on Twilight Zone?
Yes, the second. Essentially, what was going on is on the 5th and final season of Twilight Zone, producer William Frug realized that they were over budget. And at about that time, he saw a French short film that was an adaptation of a very famous short story by Ambrose Bierce, set during the American Civil War. And although it was made by a French team, the dialogue, the little bit of dialogue that there was in English because it was about the Civil War. And it has a twist ending. And he thought, gosh, if I bought the rights to air this 2 times, initial run and rerun, we would be under budget because we wouldn't have to make the episode. So that's exactly what he did. And they put Rod next to a camera, movie camera, and he introduced it, and he had a little voiceover at the end. And it was a Twilight Zone episode. But of course, because they only had the rights to air it twice, it's not part of the syndication package, and so one has to kind of look for it. I don't know if they've included it subsequently, but I of course have seen it. It's a good film. It does definitely have a Twilight Zone feeling, and but no, it was not made by the Twilight Zone team. Interestingly enough, it went on to win an Oscar for best short subject, which might have been because it aired as a Twilight Zone and so many people saw it, and so it's the only Twilight Zone episode that won an Oscar. So that's a pretty fun little bit of trivia. So, and you could win bar bets. So, okay, great. So, Galinda, you're next on my screen. Go for it.
Hello. Yes, I am so inspired to spend money every time I come here. Because I couldn't help myself. I just got the single though. There is a sheet, and I could buy the whole sheet of those, but I just wanted the one with Rod Serling.
Great.
That'll be my friends and I. We do a movie watch on Sundays, and they decided they wanted to watch Fahrenheit 451 with the new one. And what I found very amusing is that their commentary matched up with everything you said on your review of it. They're missing the same things that you were talking about. The wife being missing. You know, the essence of it was there, but it wasn't quite.
No.
It was still good. We still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I bought a couple of books based on some of the books that they were looking at. So I don't know if they were featured in the original book or if they were, just for the movie. But I got the Notes from the Underground is already here. And I've ordered a DVD of a version of the movie Notes from the Underground, which should be interesting.
Cool.
But yeah, I do. It's usually books I buy that I get inspired to purchase from here. But stamps cool, right? Anything Rod Serling is cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and show off our latest prop.
Yay!
I actually did manage to get something for him, and he sometimes lets me put it on him.
Oh.
But it's marketed as a cat muzzle. Groomers use it for difficult cats for trimming nails and cutting hair.
Wow.
On cats, they have to. But I now have Space Kitty.
That's very cute. That's very cute.
Keep it on. If I get his attention on something on the screen, I can keep it on him for about 5-10 minutes now. We're getting him used to it a little at a time, so it doesn't ever have a
Yes.
As soon as he protests, I take it off, so there's no trauma with it.
That's great.
And the better I do, the longer I'll be able to let him wear it.
Cool.
And he sat and watched a bird video for about 7 minutes the other day with it on. So
That's
it looks
fun.
like he's looking at the screen. He's very interested. Now I just need somebody to do a voice for him. And he'll do his own little commentaries.
That's fun.
But I'm closer and closer to being able to produce. But I've got I think I got 47 seconds of video.
Great.
So I didn't want to push it too far.
No.
And get him, because once he's restless, once he wants to do something else, that's cats are like toddlers.
Yes.
Once the attention's gone, it's gone. And but yeah, I'm terribly amused with myself and with my cat. Somebody thought they wondered if I got scratched up when I took it off them, and I'm going, well, no, you got to understand this cat. He likes belly rubs and he likes his feet rubbed.
Mhm.
Which I've never done a cat that liked both
Mhm.
before. So I can play with his toes all day long and he's happy. So he's a good subject for my experiments.
That's great. That's fun.
I did get approved for my time off. I paid time off, so I'll be going to Gun Barrel City for a little while.
Right.
Great.
But I'll have internet, so I'll be able to pop in and say hi on Thursday.
Cool.
Okay.
That's great. That's great. So, anything else?
Nothing else. Just moving right along. Hey, slowly but surely, if I keep one foot in front of the other, sooner or later I'll have this thing put together.
Okay, that's great. Yay! 3 cheers. Excellent. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes.
Good.
And then, Linda, if you wanna send me a script and the footage, I can probably come up with a voice for you.
That's fun. That's fun.
But we have a Scott Baker question.
Hello, Scott.
He says it may be due to Google's tracking my searches, but even in Star Trek Discovery now, I'm seeing increasing interest in the Kardashev scale of civilization. Have you noticed this piqued interest and the apparent addition of new levels to include civilizations which control the entire universe and even the multiverse?
No, I mean, I haven't been paying attention to that, so I'm interested in that. It's definitely sounds interesting, but I have a trouble with Star Trek Discovery, which is I can't watch it for more than a few minutes at a time because it drives me crazy. But that doesn't mean, anything beyond my own lack of patience. But
fortunately, that's not a long drive.
no, that's true. That's true. And so, see, the trick is always what's going to be a valid storytelling device to comment in an oblique way on something in our current society in a meaningful way, in an empowering way. And so if I came up with an idea about a sentient race running an entire universe or multiverse, then I would use it. I would do it. I would do something with it. But right now, the problem is you should be very, very careful how powerful you make your adversary. Because if it's a problem I've always had with Q, which is if Q is too, is all totally powerful, then he's just screwing with people until he finally goes away, and it's like, oh, that's not very interesting. So, but I definitely will pay attention to that and check it out and think about it more. And there you go. So that was so now it's your turn, Elaine.
Oh dear.
Go for it, Elaine. Go for it.
Okay.
Rock and roll.
Yes. Well, I'll let Mark go into the convoluted
Details
of Italy, but we are going to London and to Wales, because Wales has a town, a Hay on Wye, the town of Hay, which is on the River Wye, which is a whole bookstore town.
Yes, antiquarian and used books.
So that, we've only been there very briefly once. And so we're really looking forward to spending a couple of days there. So that should be grand fun. And just taking a break because we're having a very good time. We're be able to shoot a lot, and we've been getting a lot of amazingly good footage. But we're also we're finding a little bit weary, a little bit tired, and somehow just being away and being incredibly lazy, or let's say being put into a different environment. Not so much lazy, we'll be running about, I assume, but being put into a different environment is something that we're very much looking forward to. So, and we have a very dear friend who just arrived from London with a cliff crossing, Michelle DaCosta, and she's in town now, and she's helping our little company put together some more cash. Right. And
we should talk to you about that, Dave. So call us after the table.
And fingers crossed for that, because the more cash they can...
Call me when you have a moment.
Okay, sure.
So the more money we get, the more we get to shoot, which is, it's a good thing that Mark and I are crazy in the same way, because we never think, oh, we really need a new sofa, which we do. We think, yes, but we can also shoot something.
Yes.
So
yes.
So we're looking forward to 3 weeks overseas.
That's gonna be great.
So that's it for me for right now.
Okay. Yay! So, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have another Bruce Moore question,
Okay, go for it, Bruce.
which is a writing question.
Yes.
Do your characters visit you and demand you write about them? This is happening to me.
The medication can help that. It's an interesting question. I'll definitely something will occur to me or something will come to me. Like for instance, in when I wrote World Enough in Time, I with Michael Reeves, there was one scene with Alana where Sulu's daughter, where I was walking down the street and suddenly the whole scene came into my head, dialogue and everything, and I just wrote it down. It was like I could hear it, and once I had that scene, I knew who that character was, and I could write her in all the other scenes, and so that sometimes does happen, but you don't want. It's not like your characters are running the show, but it is a partnership with them. And so if you're trying to jam them into something that doesn't fit organically, and you get a sense of pushback, then you have to kind of say, okay, what's not working here? Something's not working, and then you kind of see where it takes you. But so there's that. So now I guess it's me, wonderful me, unless someone else pops up. So as Elaine said, initially we were going to be shooting in Sicily, but our team was going to be there on a feature, and that feature got pushed to September, and it was getting more and more expensive to fly our team over there and rent equipment and all this nonsense that would have been nothing free otherwise. So we'll either shoot in Sicily in September or find an alternative, but it's just one scene in an archaeological dig. It's not it's not vital that we shoot it right now, and but that was the thing that we basically said, well, then let's go to London and Wales and so forth, as long as we're going to be in Sicily. And then it was like, because we really need a vacation, so we pulled the plug on the Sicily part of it, but we're sticking with the England and Wales part of it. And while we're there, we'll be meeting some executives that we know, and the BBC journalist who named Far Beyond the Stars the greatest Star Trek episode ever. I'll be getting together with him in London, and so forth. So we shall see what happens. But it's we're really looking forward to it. We leave on Sunday. I love London. It's like a second home. We're staying in Hampstead, which is a very nice area of London that we really love, and can't wait. And and meantime, we just showed Michelle the second hour of the Space Command, 101 and 102, and she was blown away because she hadn't seen it with everything plugged in, and the color correction is going to be spectacular. I mean, the session we had with the guy was just amazing. So 3 more people have popped up. Jesus. But and I also got an email from my publisher that they've just shipped me 84 copies of the new book, which I have not seen yet, but I cannot wait to see them. That's Greenlighting Yourself. Meantime, we're busy at work shooting, the 6th hour of Space Command, and putting the haunted house together, which is the alien spaceship. And man, there's a lot of adventures ahead, I'll tell you. And so watch this space now. So thanks, guys. That's my turn. And Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question now that we have a few more people who've popped up?
Yeah, we've got a few more questions.
Great.
Including one from Kevin Scott 76.
Hello, Kevin.
He says, is there a science fiction book or production that won an award that you really didn't think they deserved it?
Yes. Dino De Laurentiis' King Kong won for best visual effects, and that was just nonsense. It did not deserve it. It was a piece of crap, and the giant robot ape never worked. I was there. I saw it. It was gigantic, but it barely moved. Most of that performance was Rick Baker, and I wish there was an Oscar for best creature performer, or best performance capture, because Andy Serkis should certainly have an Oscar. Doug Jones should certainly have an Oscar. Rick Baker and the performances he's done. It's really a sin that they don't honor those unique talents, you know. And so so that's one award I would like. Like to have given. Interestingly enough, I interviewed, when I wrote the Twilight Zone Companion, I interviewed the guy who won the first Oscar for makeup, and that was William Tuttle, and it was for a terrific film called The Seven Faces of Dr. Lao. And William Tuttle had worked, and his first job working at MGM was as an assistant on Wizard of Oz. And he became one of the great makeup men. He did all the great makeups on Twilight Zone, Eye of the Beholder, and on, just, you know, phenomenal talent. And so yeah, it's but yeah, I'm glad they have the makeup award. I'm glad they have the visual effects award, but that one I think was really misplaced. So yeah. So okay, so I guess now, Mark Gushowitz, you're on my screen if you want to tell us your story.
I don't know if you want to hear my story. What do you think about award nominations for animated performances?
Yes, I think that's valid too. You know, I mean, there's certainly some great performances in animated films, and you know, it's a balancing act between giving everyone an Oscar, and, you know, I mean, it's tricky, but yes, I think that would be justified. Absolutely.
It feels to me like an animated performance would be harder, because you have to I guess we have to go to the animator as well as the performer. But when I used to work at movie theaters, and come awards time, and I would give my recommendations to anybody who came up with an Academy card, per se. And they always looked at me crazy the year of Babe Pig in the City, because I kept calling him Ferdinand the Duck. And I thought that was an amazing performance, and it was an amazing performance that not only was had to be done through voice, but also through the performance of an animatronic animal.
Wow.
And that's got to be a lot harder than somebody showing up on set. I always thought that it was an important award that should be given.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's going on with me, except for a lot of editing work. And this week and starting tomorrow, I am unavailable for editing work because it's Easter weekend.
Yay.
You know what I do on Easter weekend every year? I have a friend who does costume characters, and he has got so many jobs that he recruits everybody he knows. So I will be an Easter bunny starting tomorrow all the way through Sunday night.
Wow.
So not going to be doing any regular work again until Monday after tonight. But I did send you a link to the new ending of Comic-Con.
Great.
I did find something from that girl.
Great. Terrific. Thanks. Cool.
I'm going to have a note attached to it, though. Please read it when you watch it and let me know what you think.
Okay.
So thank you for that note, though, because I actually think it works really well.
Great.
Otherwise, yeah, I've been editing a travel show, which I'll be once again starting up on Monday for a deadline at the end of the month. Hopefully we'll be finishing these bonus features, because all I have to do is lock this Comic-Con, and I think we're done.
Yes.
And then starting next week, I'm going all out on my website. My website is laid dormant for a month, and I'm really mad about it, but there's nothing I could do about it. So starting next month, I am going whole hog with my movie review website, and I'm not looking back. My first review is going to be for a movie that is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's a William Friedkin movie that nobody's seen, and it's by far his best movie. Much better than French Connection, better than Bug, better than The Exorcist. More people need to see it, and you'll have to read about it on my website when it comes up.
Okay.
And other than that, just stressing out a lot, because that comes with the territory. And then keep my fingers crossed that that things start to kind of calm down a little bit so I can relax. I haven't actually sat down and watched a new movie since The Batman, and before that it was 2 months. And anybody who knows me knows that me not seeing at least 2-3 movies a week is abnormal. And for the last 6 months, it hasn't happened, and it's driving me insane. Movies are my drug. I go through withdrawals if I don't see them.
Yes.
So I've been going through a lot of withdrawals.
Well, a movie I can recommend, by the way, is Everything Everywhere at Once. It's the new movie starring Michelle Yeoh. It's got our Space Command's James Hong in it. It's a really good film, and it takes place in the multiverse. And I didn't know about if it would be good based on the trailers, but it's really good. So I highly recommend it, and particularly seeing it in a movie theater would be a good idea.
I really want to see it. It's I love Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
And I hear it's off the walls wacky.
It is, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. So it's quite something.
Yeah. So that's one that's on my radar to see. But yeah, it's been pretty busy for the last 6 months, and so hopefully once these Blu-ray features are
cool
out for everyone to see, I can relax a little bit
because
it's been taking up all my spare time. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If people want to visit my website and see old reviews for movies they want to check out, it's underexposedcinematictreasures.com. And also I ask, and this could actually help me out a little bit, because since I haven't put something up in a while, I ask people if there's a movie that they would like to recommend, if they could write me a 4 or 5 sentence review. I have a fan recommendation page that I would put it up on. Doesn't have to be a movie I like, because that page is not about me. It is about what the fans like. So you could literally recommend a movie that I hate, but it would still go up because that page isn't about me. With the exception of Radio Flyer, because I feel that movie should be banned. I feel it's got the wrong message, and I will not support that movie in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Other than that, anything's fair game.
Okay.
Other than that, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yay! 3 cheers. Great. Another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam.
Yes, we have another Scott Baker question.
Okay, Mr. Baker.
He says, have you watched Will Wheaton's The Ready Room, inspired by Chris Hardwick's The Talking Dead? The show is much like your live stream.
Really, I know of it. I haven't watched it. You know, it's getting to such a point of so much stuff on TV that it's impossible to watch it all. I'm watching a show called Downton Abbey right now. And you know, it's really interesting. And the Gilded Age led me to Downton Abbey. And I'm also watching this, which is one of my favorite British shows. It's called An Englishman's Castle. It stars Kenneth More. It's from the 70s. It takes place in an alternate Britain where the Nazis won the war. And it's a really, really great show. You can watch some of it, I think, on YouTube, but it's just terrific. I got this from England, and it is, unfortunately, I have a Blu-ray player that can play this, because it's you know, PAL, but it's great. It's just great. So so there you have it. And yeah, but I mean, the thing is, I've met Will Wheaton. He's okay. I mean, he's a nice guy, I think, but I thought his character was dreadfully written on Star Trek: The Next Generation. They were writing him as a much younger child. They didn't know how to write him. It was a wasted opportunity. You know, they could have done such a good job with having a young person on the Enterprise, and they just, in my opinion, blew it. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I think they should cast him in Star Trek now. I think he's, you know, I think he'd be great. I think if Beverly Crusher's on it, I think he should be, since he's her son. And but that's, you know, we'll see what happens. So okay, yay, cheers. So Thane, you're next on my screen.
Good evening.
Great.
It's been a while. Life tends to interfere these days. I had a couple of auditions. Waiting to see if I get put on hold for Monday.
Ooh, good luck.
See what happens. Life of Jesus, and I'm an old man in the Mercado, so we'll see. At any rate, still working on my one-man show. I recorded the what I'm calling chapter headings. My dad had a habit of a variety of sayings like, I cut it off twice and it's still too short. And rather than measure twice, cut once. So several of my friends suggested that, since I often refer to those, that maybe those would be a nice way of introducing the next scene. So I recorded those this afternoon for PowerPoint presentation to see how it would work. And that went pretty well. And I am going to get a few days off. I arranged for caretaker for my friend, and so I'm going to see my family that I haven't seen in at least 3 years.
Wow.
We're celebrating one of the grandsons got engaged, and so parents of the bride want the world to know that their daughter is engaged, so they're having an engagement party. And then the following weekend, I'm going to go to a writing workshop with Jessica Lynn Johnson out at Joshua Tree, which is focused on solo shows and writing, producing solo shows. And they've got some outside speakers, and some writing exercises, and so on. So that'll give me a few days off for my day-to-day caretaking activities. And other than that, life goes on, staying busy, and looking forward to an expanding marketplace for actors here as things come back online.
Cool. Okay.
I see William here. I tried to contact his friend from Portland that runs the film festivals out there, but it turns out he's moved down to Austin. So I'll have to find an excuse to go to Austin, I guess.
Okay.
So keep on keeping on. And it's kind of nice to be on Nest and out and about on a limited basis.
Yes.
Return some
And Thane, when
sense of reality.
and Thane, when we get back from England on May 9th, we're going to be starting up the table again in person at Patty's. So we'll find a way, we'll figure out a way to have the Zoom component work with that, permutation. And so because I don't want people who are not in LA to not be able to participate, but I definitely want to make sure that we get back on to a physical footing as soon as we're allowed to, given the ups and downs of COVID. So, so there's that. So anything else?
That's about it.
Okay.
I just keep staying healthy and engaged and ready to go to work when the opportunity comes along.
Okay, cool. Yay. 3 cheers. Now, also, as we mentioned this a little earlier, this is the Blu-ray and DVD of Space Command Redemption, the first 2 hours of Space Command that are now available to order in Blu-ray and DVD, and tons of extras. And then in the near future, we will have Space Command Forgiveness, which is our second and third episode, and that's the Blu-ray of that. And then the Great Solar War, and this is the Blu-ray of the Great Solar War, which is the 2-hour episode that comes after those first two, so not including the bonus episode. So these are all coming down the pike in the foreseeable future, but you can order the 2-hour one now, because we're going to have it done in the next few weeks and then ship it. So great. So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes.
Cool.
And to clarify, for those of you who have backed this on Kickstarter,
Yes.
At any point for a DVD, those are going out
First. Yes, absolutely.
Just to be sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We are not neglecting
No.
anyone.
No. You guys have dibs. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So, and I think you're going to be very pleased. There's not only the 2 hours, which looks better than it's ever looked, including the first hour, because we're going to be doing additional color correction and sound design on it, and an additional sound mix, but also the extras are phenomenal. I mean, commentaries and behind the scenes and deleted scenes and extended scenes and concept art and convention appearances with all of our cast. It's really going to be fun. Really going to be fun. And also the auditions. When we have the worldwide talent search, we'll have the callbacks where we have the actual auditions that got Ethan McDowell and Brian McClure and Sarah Marafino those roles. And so it will be super fun to share that with everyone. So you'll see them in their youth, in their great youth. So great, cool. So
on to our question.
Yeah.
from Hayes 494.
Cool.
He says, in Star Trek Picard, one of the characters introduced has a mental illness, but it's more of a spray on. Will Space Command do something like that, but better?
Yes, I think we're going to do everything better. Just ego speaking, but not just ego speaking.
Well, there's Barbara Bain's character.
Yes, that's true. Yes, if you look at Ripple Effect, which you can watch on Mr. Sci-Fi, that's our 2-hour bonus pandemic episode, and Barbara Bain definitely was a character with mental illness. I mean, to write anything well, you have to go deep into a knowledge of the real situation, whether it's a character who gets raped, whether it's someone who goes to prison, whether it's a homeless person. You've got to talk to people, homicide cops. You've got to talk to people who actually lived through that. You have to go to the environment and see what the environment is like. You have to really take it on. And most TV writers are very lazy, and they don't do that. They basically think that they can just kind of imagine it or watch some movie or TV show and that they've got it, and that's not the case at all. And so you know, and fortunately Elaine, of course, has dealt, how would you like to phrase?
Well, I've dealt a lot with people who were challenged,
mentally challenged, yes,
with mental illnesses, and
right.
And she was picking up on everything that I said right away, because it was someone Barbara Bain was.
Yeah, she's great. She's great
because it was somebody. Sometimes if you have mental illness, it's not like you can just get away from it, and you can be saying things that you don't want to say and make you hateful to yourself, but you're still saying them, and so it's so that kind of lack of control. Anyway, we talk about quite a bit about that kind of mental illness, which where we all feel a little bit isolated, but that really isolates you from your fellows and isolates you from what you would consider your best self. And somehow it never comes right. And so she was great in that kind of, rage against life.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. So, so now it's William Garcia. I haven't seen you for a while.
Hi, Mark.
Hello. Hello.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
And Fame. It's been ages. Edison. Well, I've been busy. That's why I haven't been on. Lots of things going on. Actually, I've been more busy during the pandemic than before. Don't ask me why, but it was really strange. So let's see, what have I been up to? We released Samland. We got a deal with Gravitas Venture. It's out on Apple TV and Google Play and all that kind of stuff. All the different streamers.
Cool.
And AT&T, Warner Media, all that kind of stuff. So the movie's doing well. So we're really happy. We're now talking to some foreign distributors for the feature. We had a good run in festivals, won the awards, did the festival thing. So that went pretty well. We completed Rally Cats. I'm very much excited about that movie. It's a family film based out of a book.
Cool.
Intellectual property about a young boy who loses his father and ends up being inspired by a deaf baseball player to somehow deal with his loss and the challenges that he has at that time. It's kind of a coming of age story with a really wonderful cast. We actually casted some actors that are hearing impaired, so I'm very excited about that. We shot that in New York, Iowa, and here in Los Angeles. Right now we're in post-production and having those wonderful screening reviews with audience members giving us notes, which has been fascinating. We just closed the deal for a romantic comedy that we're going to be shooting here in Los Angeles, and we have a meeting on next week with the studio, so we're talking the details. So that looks like it's going to be shot sometime in August, September, and really excited because we're looking at working with Chad Michael Murray. Where right now he's interested, and we're looking at locking him in.
Great.
And then we're having a conversation with Donald Sutherland, which would be fascinating.
That'd be great
to be able to to work with him and
Yes.
some other actors. So we've made some offers. We'll see how that goes, you know, availability and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
And then I'm developing the Maids of Havana. A
Mhm.
couple of the streamers are interested, and we're now in conversation with that.
Great.
Let's see what else is going on. NAB is coming up, so I'm going to be attending the NAB show.
Wow.
And, over in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
That'll be like next week.
Great.
And then the most exciting thing, even though that was all exciting, was I got to see and meet again for the second time in my life Steven Spielberg.
Yay.
I was it's an interesting story. I'm a member of the Producers Guild of America, and I attended the breakfast. You know how they bring in all the producers for all the nominated features for this year. And the only reason that I attended the breakfast, because I mean, again, I go to those events at the Producers Guild, and most of the producers are like everyone else. They're just looking for money, right? You
Yes.
meet all the producers, and they either have a studio deal that are real high level, and the independent producers are like, I have a project, partially funded. Do you have funding? I mean, that's the networking that you do at these events. But my whole purpose was I had an old photo of Steven Spielberg and I that I had shot. Someone shot us too when I originally met him, and like we're talking about the 1990.
Wow. That's great.
And my only reason for going to this
Let's
event,
get him to sign it.
Was to get a signature.
Yes, that's great.
That was it. I didn't care about networking or anything like that. All I wanted was to see Steven Spielberg again, just say, hey, I've had this photo on, framed in my office for the last 32 years, trying to get my work at a higher level. That was it. That would have been it. So anyways, went to the event, listened to everyone speak. Sure enough, during the event, everyone started talking about Ted. You know, there was a gentleman named Ted that was in the audience. And it's like, isn't that right, Ted?
I know who that is.
And then another producer is like, you know what I mean, Ted? And everyone's talking about this Ted who's sitting in the front. I have no idea who he is.
I can guess.
I mean, I didn't care because to me, it was about what was in this envelope.
Right, exactly.
That was my only purpose, right? So I wait till the end, and then sure enough, I dash like with 20 other people. Mind you, this is a room full of 700 people.
Wow.
About like maybe 15 or 20 people, dash to Mr. Spielberg.
Right.
Everyone wants to take a photo.
Right.
And I'm walking around with my little because I wasn't going to walk around with a photo. That would be kind of weird.
Right. Yes.
But I go in and I'm like, finally I get to where he is, and he's like, you want a picture? And I go, no. Can you sign this for me? It's just a photo that I've had on my wall for the last 32 years. I admire your work. I love this, and that, the other. And all of a sudden, I'm like nervous. Here's like, someone I admired. And then sure enough, he signed my picture.
That's great. Look at that. Yay. That's great. That's great.
So he saw my picture, and then all of a sudden, this guy named Ted goes, "Oh, that's cool. Let me see." So he shows it.
That's great.
And the next thing I know, I get Ted Sarandos' information.
Yep. He's the head of Netflix, for those who don't know, and that's great. That's great. Yeah, seems like a nice guy.
So that was my exciting
story. Well, what William, what I would have said to you had I known about this beforehand is I would have said, get a picture of him now, and when he's 104 appearing at some event, get him to sign that one. So because his mom lived, we went to the restaurant that she owned, and we talked to her. She was in her 90s and very spry and very entertaining, and it was
food.
Really good food. And she's gone now, sadly, but she had a good long life. And her son treated her very well, and she was very, very, very proud of him. But that's great. That's terrific. Good luck with pursuing Mr. Sarandos.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, they passed me on to other executives.
Sure.
But it was unexpected and walked in there. But
that's great.
Steven's still the same. Very
Yes.
nice,
Yes.
kind person. I was like, wow, still the same. But it's kind of interesting because the last time I spoke to him, he told me that he was working on a black and white World War II film.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
told him last time I saw you, you were working on a black and white World War II film, which, you know, that's
Yes.
Schindler's List.
Of course.
But anyways, it's been nice to see you guys and just
Great.
wanted to come on and say hello. It's
Terrific.
been a while,
That's
and
great.
Thank you.
Great. Yay. 3 cheers, William.
Yes.
And great.
Congratulations on all the great news.
That's terrific. Yes, you're doing great. So oh, by the way, there's something I'm going to probably put this out as an email. I was approached by this guy who's starting a new. Our dogs are being competitive. Go get it. I was approached by someone who's starting a new platform, and he wants me to provide content. And I don't want to give him Space Command, but I've been doing Mr. Sci-Fi's history of science fiction for some time now, and I want to find out about fair use, because I know that you can now use clips if you're, doing a documentary or something like that. And I just am not up on the latest about that, because it used to be prohibitive to do documentaries because you would have to pay an enormous amount for clips from movies and so forth. And that's no longer the case. And part of what brought this about was the proliferation of content on YouTube and elsewhere. But well, I just would love to drop in some clips. And Dave Edison is just chomping at the bit to do that as well. He just loves. Yeah, it's very funny because there's a very famous event from the Salem witch trials where one of them, I think it was Giles Corey, and this is in the Crucible by Arthur Miller, but it's a real case where he was basically they put these rocks on him to crush him to death, and what he kept saying was more weight, and really a tough guy, really tough, and so Dave is sort of like that. It's like pile it on. I love working with you, Mark. So so yeah.
It's in the reading. It's more.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Punctuation is so important, as is spelling. So yeah. So okay, great. So Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have a interesting question from Jonathan Ingwall.
Oh, hi, Jonathan.
Who asks, do you have any thoughts on post-scarcity or a lack of need, and if it implies prosperity?
I'm not sure what context you're asking the question in, because certainly
the concept of post-scarcity as a
well, the problem is that humans never act as one, because we have enough wherewithal to feed everyone, give everyone housing, give everyone medical care. If we really got our act together, we could do it, and we don't do it. And the reason we don't do it is because we're the way we're wired. And so I don't think there is ever going to be a post-scarcity world, no matter how many wonderful technological advances we have. I wish there were. I'd love for there to be, but so that's some of it. Okay, Rudy, where's the ball? Oh, it's over there. I'll throw it. So Bonnie, you're next on my screen. Go for it.
Okay, sorry, missed you guys last week. I've been doing this workshop, but it ended today. So,
It's good to see you.
yeah, just working on a couple different film projects. Potential film projects are coming my way, and then somebody that I met at one of the Let's Do Lunch. May probably do her short film, and then another film. Yeah, I just keep busy with different things. Yeah, just a lot of different things working on. Going to be interviewed for the Alliance of Women Film Composers, so that'll be nice.
Cool.
And then, yeah, I don't know, just a lot of different things keeping me busy right now. Films and 2 musicals. Yeah, I was thinking about those, and yeah. Anybody need music?
Great.
That's it.
Is there anything you need? Oh, go ahead.
While I think of it, did you ever get a space for your second car?
No.
I'll see if any neighbors have another space.
That would be great. That'd be great.
I thought of somebody I can ask.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I'll try.
Yes, that'd be terrific. That'd be very helpful because, for obvious reasons. So, though I think parking in front of Dave's building would be a very good idea, given the fact that his car was stolen from there. So,
Yeah.
but all's well that ends well. Dave has a wonderful new car, and
Oh my gosh.
you know,
Well, I have a newly acquired car. It's anything but new. But
Yes.
Amy's car wasn't stolen from in front of the building.
no, it wasn't. So that you mean she still has her car? Yes, exactly.
It was and we had to park on the street because they were doing work in the garage,
Oh,
and hers was newer.
Great.
And not that one.
Well, there you go. And but and you're
I guess you're
How long
just
do you need to park it for?
3 weeks. So
You can probably park in front of my house.
well, that's appreciated. So, but obviously, if Dave has 2 spaces that we can utilize, that's one-stop shopping, and so, or it's Bonnie, I guess. Bonnie.
Oh,
Sorry,
you might have
Bonnie.
two spots for Dave. Oh, because
No, I'm sorry, Bonnie. I misspoke. I meant you, because
okay.
you and Dave look so. You
We're
look
easily mistaken.
very much so. You bear an uncanny resemblance to each other.
Yeah.
but
And
if you have 2 spaces, we will love you forever.
yeah, and Dave, are you ordering
Yeah,
that?
I will try it because
Great.
it's off the street, so it's definitely safe in here. But I definitely have 1 extra spot. But
Good.
I'll
Great.
see.
Thank
Terrific.
you. Great. Well,
Terrific. Thanks.
That's
And Dave, are you ordering the vanity plate that says montage? What's your plan? Or yeah. Well, never mind. So okay, great. So I guess that's everybody, unless someone else pops up, and I think we're good. Maybe one last Mr. Sci-Fi question, and we'll go to our various fates.
Well, your
do that.
fate is. Rudy.
I got a quick one for you.
Sure.
From Bruce Moore.
Hello,
When
Bruce.
Can we get an autographed copy of Green Lighting Yourself?
Well, very, very soon. As soon as I have a box of them, if anyone wants to buy one, and I'll sign it, and that'd be great. We'll figure out a way to make that work.
Maybe do a book signing. and
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. I just heard there was a female conductor interviewed by Terry Gross, and I heard this wonderful quote that she said. And if I had been still writing the book, I would have used that quote, because she was talking about how few people were willing to entertain the notion of a female conductor, and she said, every door was closed to me, so I built my own house. And I really like that. So yeah. So, but yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to have a copy of the new book in my hands. And the second issue of Space Command Comics, the Mira Furlan issue, will be out very shortly. And if you're in London or have friends who are in London, tell them we're going to be there, and can't wait. So I guess that's about it for now. So, there's a lot of excitement coming very, very soon. We're going to have a premiere at the Chinese Theater for Space Command. It'll be in June or July. We're going to be talking about that stuff very soon. And we are now actively shooting Hour 6, which we'll take a break from that for 3 weeks while we're gone. But then we are jumping in with both feet to shoot the what we call the haunted house, the alien spaceship, where the sets are built, and we are going to rock and roll. It's going to be super fun. So
Travel safe.
thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Bon voyage, as we say in Hollywood.
Yes, thank you so much. And we will talk soon. Everyone stay safe.
But this continues for 3 weeks, even when you're away under
Yes.
the watchful eye of Mr. Bartlett.
Yes, exactly. I think between Adam and David, we can keep this going.
And for those who lean in that direction, happy Easter.
Yes. When Jesus turns into a bunny, and is that how the story goes? I can't quite remember. And but the though my joke, of course, is Jesus is the only guy who came back from the dead, and people didn't run screaming. So but this is great. And I will be posting more Mr. Sci-Fi videos from England, because why the hell not? And we have finally edited, Mr. Edison and I edited the first Space Command scene in Italian. It takes place on an Italian spaceship, and we have done a temp version of that scene.
It's in Sicilian.
It's in Sicilian, yes, as Masi and Andrea are quick to advise us. But it has Andrea Miraglia and Massimiliano Trevis, our DP and line producer, and it is wonderful, and we love it. And Italian spaceship, Sicilian spaceship. So okay, and that's about it for now. So stay well, guys, and
to everyone.
yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, exactly. And so we'll talk soon.
Yeah,
Italian spaceship is square instead of pointed and is thicker.
Yes, that's true. It's
That's
true.
true.
And you're not, yeah. And don't eat it with a fork. So, okay, great. So we will talk soon. Thanks, guys. Stay well, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Take care.
Guys.
Bye. And bye, my friends with Mr. Sci-Fi. More adventures to come.